So I very recently discovered Nando's One Villainous Scene series, to which, thank you to everybody who participated in that. You basically given me the equivalent of lo-fi beats to program and edit videos to. But then, by sheer serendipity, he starts one musical scene around the same time. And I'm like,
I'm interested in this.
I thought about it for a bit on what scene I wanted to do. Should it be something from a movie, a game, a show? And there are plenty of scenes that would work, but then I realized, being a gaming-focused channel, when else am I going to have the opportunity to talk about Starship Troopers? Starship Troopers is one of those movies that gets better every time you watch it. The first time you watch it, it's a military comedy action film about killing bugs in space. After a few more times with a bit more attention, you realize it's actually a dark commentary on hyper-militarized societies that place more worth on service above anything else. About killing bugs in space. It's not like it's particularly well hidden either, so I'm surprised so many people, myself included on first watch, missed it. Somehow I guess we all missed the part during the school scenes about how veterans overthrew the government after, and I quote, the failure of democracy, before establishing a military-based meritocracy where people who don't serve aren't even considered citizens because we were too busy watching Rico flirt with the worst girl ever. This is the stated reason why some people go into the military. One girl in the shower scene specifically says she intends to go into politics, and service guarantees citizenship. Another guy says he's here because he got into Harvard, but his family wouldn't or couldn't pay for it, so he's here so the Federation will pay his way. Another woman says,
I want to have babies.
And it's easier to get a license if you serve. The ability to have children is a privilege given, and those who serve are given preferential treatment. I'm getting sidetracked. Before this video turns into something completely different, let's briefly cover the movie up to the scene I want to talk about. Rico joins the military to follow his awful girlfriend Carmen, though she's going to be a pilot while he's going into mobile infantry. And he's later joined by his childhood friend slash football quarterback slash best girl in the movie, Dizzy Flores, who joins the infantry with him. Rico briefly makes squad leader only to lose it immediately by accidentally getting somebody killed during a live fire exercise, and as he's about to quit, we cut to Carmen taking a larger ship out on a higher level flight exercise. A meteor is shot out of a wormhole from the homeworld of a race of arachnids, and while Carmen is able to navigate the ship to minimize damage, it does take out their comms tower, resulting in them not being able to radio to Earth before the meteor destroys her, Rico, and Dizzy's hometown of Buenos Aires. This escalates to a full-scale war against the arachnids on their home planet, which goes poorly. Rico, Dizzy, and their friend from boot camp, Ace, are the only survivors of their unit, and are lucky to be so. 500,000 people died during the invasion on Clendathu, with 100,000 of those within the first hour. Rico and his friends are reassigned to a new squadron, nicknamed the Roughnecks, led by his old football coach, Lieutenant Vetchak. He doesn't recognize Rico yet, but don't worry, he will. Right now, though, he lets everybody know the way things work around here.
This is for you new people. I only have one rule. Everyone fights, no one quits. You don't do your job, I'll shoot you. You get me?
We get you, sir!
Welcome to the Roughnecks.
Ratcats, Roughnecks!
Vetchak runs a tight ship, but he gets things done. And there is no messing around. The Roughnecks head to the planet Tango Urila to clear some bugs out, and many people, the best of the best as we've been told, get picked off like cannon fodder. The bugs absolutely win this fight physically, but through strategy, wit, and some impressive maneuvers from Rico, the Roughnecks actually manage to succeed in their mission. The gang celebrates their victory in the standard military fashion of partying hardcore. Everybody dances, everybody drinks, Rico and Diz hook up. There was much rejoicing. The rejoicing is cut to a halt, though, as they receive a distress call from an outpost on Planet P, a planet that was supposed to be clear. By the time they get there, they see a full-on massacre. Dead bodies, bug and human, sprawled across the floor, blood and entrails on full display. The bugs burrowed straight through the ground and attacked the humans while they were eating. Diz calls over everybody to the comm center to see something, and
What's that look like to you, Rico?
Looks like a bug was in his brain, sir.
They sucked his brains out.
in spite of the desolation around them, they manage to find an officer still alive, who tells them exactly what happened. The bugs got in their brain. they made the comms officer send out that distress signal.
Distress call was a trap.
In one line, the game has been changed. The movie has done a very fantastic job up until this point masquerading the arachnid threat. The bugs have always seemed like a hunter species. The war was akin to fighting a very large pack of wolves. They're not stupid, they use tactics, but we're still smarter than they are. They aren't out there planning, they aren't scheming, they're not controlling humans to send distress calls as traps. Now, suddenly, they are. In a moment, the bugs went from a threat that humanity lost to physically, but won to mentally, to a threat that dwarfs them in almost every capacity. And when you think about it, this isn't new information either. Remember that meteor strike I mentioned earlier? What kind of simple-minded hunter society would use a wormhole to shoot a meteor at an enemy civilization, specifically targeting a civilian city? The bugs were always this smart. We just didn't realize it in the commotion. And speaking of things we probably didn't realize, think about how humanity responds. We're talking humans, on Earth. During the propaganda films, it is explained that the bugs have the capacity to shoot meteors like this because they are positioned next to an asteroid belt. So are we. We have a veritable dump truck of ammo to respond in kind. And yet, how do we respond? With a ground assault. If humanity was even on par with the arachnids in terms of tech, there would be no reason to do a ground invasion of Klendathu as your opening move. Sure, ground invasions have their place, but soldiers had no business being on Klendathu if there was any other option. Which implies that there wasn't. Humanity had to make a ground assault. They couldn't respond in kind. The bugs aren't just smart, they're smarter than us. Shoot, even the invasion on Klendathu, humans thought the plasma discharge was going to be random and light, when in actuality it was bugs acting as anti-aircraft units. Were these bugs bred for this purpose? Who knows? That would be terrifying. But all we know is that somehow humans managed to get false intelligence on the bugs. The bugs tricked us. And yeah, later on we find out the explanation. There are brain bugs that act as coordinators of a hive mind. But at this point, we don't know that. Maybe all the bugs are this intelligent. We just have no way to know. That means that in terms of a human versus bug standoff, at this moment, the only advantage humans know they have are individual tactics and wit and ranged weapons, as most, and I cannot stress this enough, most bugs do not have ranged weapons. Beyond those two things, humans are outmatched physically, mentally, and worst of all, they are outmatched in numbers. The fight is in full force immediately. Guns clack and slam, bullet casings hit the floor, bugs screech and die, but for every bug that dies, dozens more get closer as they slam against the walls of the outpost. Flying bugs reinforce the ground platoon, proving that the range advantage I just mentioned doesn't really account for much, and effortlessly decapitate two men. Remember, these are the best of the best, and they're dropping like flies. Dizzy can't reach anybody on comms as bugs begin to tear down the support beams to try to collapse the walls. As Rico runs in, they finally manage to hail someone, and they request evac on a planet which, mind you, was supposed to be clear. Rico tells them to land in the outpost, in the middle of an active firefight, which even the responder notes is an absolutely insane request. To which Rico just says,
Well, I hope you have a crazy pilot. Out!
Not even giving them the chance to respond. And as we return to the action, we see things probably couldn't be going worse. So many bugs have died that their corpses form multiple ramps for them to climb into the compound. Think about how many bugs that has to be. Men swamp in and out with each other to keep on suppressing fire as more and more bugs die, hundreds of dead bugs. Surely the humans must be making a dent by now. The retreat order is given as more and more bugs begin to climb the walls. And if you wanted any more indication that these bugs are smart, thinking, and cruel creatures, this one just skewers a man and tosses him over to his buddies on the other side, like, jeez. And then...
Hold what you got!
This song, the song that acts as the main theme for the entire movie. This song swells in at full force, drowning out even the gunfire. The long, held-out brass, underscored by a militant drumbeat, bears over everything. Soldiers toss each other the last remains of their magazines as bugs swarm over the walls in droves. To say that humans are at a bit of a disadvantage would be like saying James Cameron's Avatar was a little bit popular. When discussing the tone of a piece of music, be it in film or otherwise, it's important to talk about what the music conveys. And in most military films, you would believe that the main theme would be a song of triumph, a piece that conveys beating insurmountable odds and pushing the enemy back. But that's not what the song is. This song is hopeless. The song sounds like it's mourning. It's a song you'd expect to hear when someone is making their last stand, but you as the audience know they're going to die. The song is bereft of hope. In fact, the last time we heard this song was where it gets its official name, Klendathu Drop. The last time we heard this song, it was played leading into a hopeless battle which succeeded in nothing but getting 500,000 people killed. Now, it plays for the last stand of some of the best soldiers in the mobile infantry, fighting for their lives not to win, but simply to get away. There is no victory to be had here. This isn't Tango Yurila. Yes, it's awesome badass daring do, but for what? Everyone on Klendathu, every one of the roughnecks here on P, they're all going to die for nothing. Sent into war on suicide missions, knowingly or not, to die. Service guarantees citizenship, but many won't live to see it. So much death for nothing. The ship finally lands, and Carmen's stupid boyfriend comes out, guns blazing with cover fire. Maybe this guy ain't so bad. As Ratchak orders the retreat, only for something to cave the ground in beneath him and drag him underneath the sand. Rico and Dizzy try to save him, and they half succeed.
Rico! You know what to do!
Yes, sir!
Following orders, Rico shoots him in the chest, killing him. Without a moment to mourn, a Tanga bug bursts from the ground, and while a well-placed grenade with triumphant fanfare from Diz is enough to kill it, the music switches from triumph to terror in an instant, as we see Dizzy get pierced multiple times through the chest. Rico and Ace retrieve their friend, dragging her back to the ship, as Xander shouts for the men on the tower, who never stop laying down suppressing fire, and while they no doubt saved many lives today, staying up there as long as they did, the music finally begins to relent. So many people, named characters, main characters, people we liked and cared about, died. And for what? Some might say we get an answer from Carl, a friend of Rico's from school, who for his smarts was assigned to military intelligence. And when Rico comments about the bugs laying a trap for them, he says,
"Elegant proof of intelligence, isn't it? We thought there might be a brain bug on P.
You knew and you sent them anyway?
We couldn't afford to launch an operation if there wasn't one. You don't approve? Well, too bad."
This confirms to the audience the existence of brain bugs, bugs that can think and plan for other bugs, but moreover confirms that they thought one was on P. And while they did send their best on the suicide mission, it was still a suicide mission. Carl sent his friends to die to confirm there was a brain on P. So much pain, willingly walking men and women into a death trap, all for that. And it's conveyed by the movie's main theme. This track, in my opinion, earns its position as the main theme. Be it for the drop on Klendathu, the battle at the Outpost, or later when Sergeant Watkins gives his life to buy Rico, Carmen, and Ace some time to escape during the assault on P to capture the brain, it encapsulates one thing: the pointlessness of it all. Nobody needed to die on Klendathu. Dizzy and Ratchak died to confirm there was a brain bug on P, and Watkins' death didn't change whether or not they got the brain bug on P. Good men and women, farm hands who wanted something better, people wanting to go to politics or prestigious schools, people who wanted to have children, or even simply people looking to make a career out of this to protect and serve, will march to their deaths for menial reasons, if even that much. Starship Troopers is a dark commentary on military-based societies, masquerading as a comedy action film that spits in the face of its source material. Seriously, look that one up sometime. And its theme encapsulates that. Hopeful people sent to pointless deaths that they go to willingly and blindly, framed from the lens of a world that accepts and promotes that. And in a world like that, you wanna live forever?